So every client that comes to me needs a different recipe to stepping up when it comes to self-worth, confidence. I don't think there's any amount of podcasts you can listen to. I don't think there's any type of outfits you can wear. I truly celebrate women in my world that fail, that are willing to fail. And I will literally tell them, we won't have a conversation on how you can improve until you go fail 17 times and then come back to me and let's talk about it. And I want that to be normalized.
We are Gold Ivy.
Our mission is to empower you to own and unleash your truth.
Stories of resiliency are gold, and ivy grows in hard places.
Those hard places are what creates space for light to shine through.
You decide what works for your daily life and how to transform our lessons into your gold.
This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production. Welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. We are so happy you're tuning in today because Chandler Lee is here.
Oh man, this episode, you guys, we talk all things being a powerful woman. We talk about self-worth, confidence, comparison. Chandler vulnerably shares about her IVF journey, sends a message to anyone struggling in that area of their life. You don't want to miss this. You know someone who has, even if you haven't dealt with it. And it sat with our hearts, and we are so excited for you to hear it.
Yeah, I got some really surprise reframes in this episode that I did not see coming when it came to comparison, when it came to my relationship with other women, other people as a mom. I expected a very powerful episode and we got it, but it was even more than I imagined. So you are going to be so grateful you tuned in today. Chandler, thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for all of the advice. We are so grateful.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hey everyone, if you're like me, January through May means cold and flu season. But this year, I'm ready. Besides the all things elderberry gummies my kids ask for every morning, I want to talk about something that is a non-negotiable in my fridge, the everyday elderberry elixir from All Things Elderberry. They call it an elixir, not a syrup, and here's why. It's made with organic, farm-fresh Missouri elderberries, never dried. That gives it a light, uniquely juicy, and palatable consistency. It's not thick or overly sweet. And the difference it makes for me is huge. For me, a tablespoon anytime I feel that first little tickle in my throat or before a big event where I absolutely refuse to be sick. It either completely kicks symptoms to the curb or lessens them so fast. Even my oldest, Cora, is asking for it. I will never not have it. It's my daily defense. And who needs that defense more right now than our bride-to-be, Brooke?
Ooh, yes. Wedding season is basically a marathon. Between the bridal showers, the bachelorette trip to Florida, and all the main events, I don't have time to be run down. The thought of getting sick before my bachelorette trip, no thank you. I'm taking my elderberry elixir with me every morning, whether I'm at home or on the road. It's my little insurance policy, so I can fully enjoy this once-in-a-lifetime season without worry. It's literally for the mom who holds everything together and the bride who is trying to hold her wedding together.
That's right. Whether you're a busy parent, a traveler, or a bride prepping for the big day, you deserve this defense. Stop letting illness slow you down. Head over to allthingselderberry.com right now.
And for 15% off your very first order, use our special code GOLDIVY. That's GOLDIVY. Get the everyday elderberry elixir. It's the defense you deserve.
Before we get back to today's conversation, I want to talk about something that hits most of us as we enter the premenopausal and menopausal years, that sudden, frustrating shift in how our bodies feel. We often talk about hot flashes, but we don't talk enough about the menopause middle, the stubborn bloating, the brain fog, and the fact that our digestion just seems to stall.
This isn't just in your head, it's in your microbiome. Trust me, I have worked for years to continually care for my gut health. As we age, our estrogen and progesterone levels drop, and we actually lose the diversity of the good bacteria in our gut. This dysbiosis leads to an increase in inflammatory bacteria, which is why we suddenly struggle with constipation, mood swings, and even sleep disturbances. That's why I want to introduce you to Relievance.
Relievance isn't just another fiber supplement. It was developed by Dr. Robert A. Gans, a nationally recognized board-certified gastroenterologist with over 30 years of clinical experience. Dr. Gans saw the limitations of standard fiber products and created this proprietary 8-fiber formula.
What makes Relievance different is the science of balance. It combines 8 different fibers, each selected for their specific viscosity and solubility. This allows the formula to dissolve gently and support your natural gut rhythm without the harsh gas or bloating often caused by single fiber supplements.
By increasing your fiber intake with a blended formula like Relievance, you're doing more than just staying regular. You're feeding the beneficial bacteria that help regulate your hormones, clear that menopause brain fog, and stabilize your energy levels. It's a tool to help fight the physiological effects of aging and reclaim your daily comfort.
It is third-party tested, gluten-free, and contains 0 artificial additives or fillers. It's just pure, clinically balanced support for a sensitive stomach. Sign me up.
If you're ready to target bloating at the source and support your microbiome through this transition, it's time to try the formula Dr. Gans developed for his own patients.
For your convenience, you can find Relievance Fiber right on Amazon or visit relievancefiber.com. Feel like yourself again with Relievance.
And now to this episode of the Ivy Unleashed podcast. Welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. Today is one of those days Brooke and I are just pumped because we've been wanting to talk to this specific person for so long. We admire her for a million reasons, and we want to welcome Chandler Lee to Ivy Unleashed.
Yay. I'm so happy to be here. I'm a little nervous. Like that intro just got me a little sweaty, but I'm excited.
No, it's just, we're just looking at it as some powerful women just chit-chatting, talking about all the good things. You are going to leave this episode motivated, inspired. And I just have a good feeling that this is going to be such a good conversation. So like Andrea said, thank you for taking the time. For those who don't know you, let's start with just sharing a little, who is Chandler Lee today?
Well, I'm a wife and I love that role. I am a sister to a badass woman. I'm a daughter. I'm a dog mom. I am currently in my fertility era. So that's a whole chapter as well. And my passion really lies in self-realization with women who are wanting to make a difference in the world. Like I love social media. That's the core of what I teach and coach, but I teach it in a way where for me, social media has been like this personal development journey. And I really see it that way, where I've learned things that I love about myself, things that I don't love about myself, ways that I'm hiding, ways that I'm holding back. And so for me, I see social media and content as this full-on transformation that if you treat it the right way, that social media is so involved in our lives nowadays. I never wanted to use it as a place where I was just posting and consuming. I wanted to do something big with it. And so now I treat it as this full-on journey. And that's what I teach my clients. So that's my business.
I love it. And what I love about following you so much is your transparency. And that's what's powerful, because not only do you do these dance fitness workouts, that's very vulnerable to get up in front and shake your ass and move your body and step into your confidence that way and then lead people that way. You're doing it in a lot of different ways too. And the vulnerability that you share on social and in your podcast, I freaking love you and Tansy and how you're like, bro, or it's so personal.
It's real.
It's real.
Thank you.
That's why
Thanks.
we're so happy you're here today, because you are such a real, powerful woman and you own your womanhood. You're sexy and you're strong. You're in the gym and you're bringing women with you. And I think that's something that Brooke and I love is when we know something is powerful, we share it. And you're doing that. And so today we're going to talk about a lot of different things that are pretty vulnerable, self-worth, comparison, those things that come along with social media. Whether you are posting on social or you're just consuming it, it messes with our brain. It messes with our mental health if we don't have that firm foundation of self-worth and ownership over our life. So I am so pumped to dive into all of it with you. But how we start every episode, season 6, is instant impact. If someone just has 10 minutes to kind of come in here and hear from Chandler, what would you like to unpack later? But what would, be one of your biggest lessons you want to share with our listeners today?
Yeah, I am in this season right now, especially with a lot of my clients, and I work with a lot of highly ambitious go-getter females who are doing big things. And one thing that I would love to give people, if you're, needing something right away, is I'm in this chapter of really diving into the document versus create theory. And that's not my theory. That's a very common personal branding theory. But to unpack that would be simply to really get present in your normal life. Like I'm trying so hard to not become this person who's like seeing every opportunity in life as a content opportunity, but at the same time, that is my art. So I feel kind of okay with that. That's my creative outlet. However, when we talk about the document versus create, which could also be substituted as perform, document versus perform theory, I love to tell my clients and the women that I'm close to like really get present and recognize what's happening in your space. So even right now, like I could go create a post on the fact that you had me on this podcast and how it felt to me. And I could unpack my experience, my human experience in this episode with you all. And that's a really powerful post in itself. And I think sometimes we overthink the humanizing of what we're doing. And we try to think, well, how could that sell something? Or how would that go viral or get a lot of likes? And the thing is especially right now with AI coming in, which I love AI coming in so much, it is our time to shine, ladies. Like I really feel like those of us who are staying real and true, it's like there's no better time to be in social media game. And so it's things like that where I think if you really allow yourself to document what's happening in your life and you're able to put that into writing or maybe a chit chat reel or whatever that looks like, that is my best advice. That is what I would want someone to take away from being real on social media. And like, I really want to fight this war of like just being authentic is so, I know that that's a common thing that everyone says, be authentic, but I feel like we're fighting a war. Like it's okay. Like just talk about your life. You might think to yourself, I don't live an exciting life. And I would argue that you do. So I think there's certain things in the corners of your life that if you get really present and you really practice introspection and do the inner work, and then you put that into your content, you're creating this beautiful ripple of people connecting on social media, which is our means of connection these days. So that's what I would give in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. I love it. You mentioned journey with social media earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What has that looked like for you when you first started sharing to now what you're doing today? Just talk about that evolution.
Yeah. Geez. Okay. So I would say, just to give some backstory. Mm-hmm. So as they mentioned, I have an older sister and she's 3 years older than me. And she's always been like this shining star. Like she's always walked into the room and lit up the room. And she was super popular in high school and a really good basketball player. And my entire life, I've followed in her footsteps, which is amazing footsteps to follow. And I'm not complaining about that. But there came a time in my life where I was like, I'm going to go the complete opposite direction because I'm sick of losing myself in this shadow. And so she started posting on social media, and I remember that was my line in the sand. I was like, nope, social media won't be for me. This will be the thing that I do not do because I'm going to stop this pattern. So I went full corporate mode, and I'm as much as my sister and I are best friends and we're very similar, we're also polar opposites. I'm very, logical. I have a logical brain and she's very much a creative. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to be a doctor. I studied pre-med. And then I was like, okay, I can't do that. It's too much school. I'm going to go the med device route and I'm going to climb corporate and I'm going to be this big corporate girl. And then all of a sudden that kind of blew up in my face during COVID when we were all staying at home. And I actually lived with my sister that year, which I think there's so many synchronicities to this. And because I worked in surgery at the time as a medical device rep and I did elective surgery, everything was canceled. So I was forced to be at home for the first time in my life. And I'm a busybody. I love to work. And so as I'm sitting at home and my sister's still running her business because her business was all social media, I had my first ever panic attack and I lost my mind. I remember my sister had to like come up from behind me and like hold me because I was like shaking and losing it. And I had to unpack what that was. And it truly was. I had this moment where I was forced to sit with nothingness and I had no clue who I was. And I was trying to fill this void of like, be somebody. And I was filling it with prestigious titles. And so I thought to myself, well, there's nothing else to do. I am going to start posting on social media. I'm going to see what that feels like. And so I started posting just to post. And I was documenting, like I mentioned, and I was telling stories about my panic attack. I was telling stories about things I loved to do at home when there was nothing else to do. And it took off in terms of engagement But what it was doing underneath all of that was it was very fulfilling for me. And it really allowed me to, there's no title of social media. I didn't call myself an influencer. I just was being myself. And for the first time, I really felt that. And so that's kind of where my journey with social media began. And then I went through, because I was working out in the garage, I went through, I joined Beachbody and I was a network marketer and did really well there. And so I kind of like went through all these different like yellow brick roads with social media. And I got to a point where I was with a different network marketing company and all I wanted to do was make money. And so I was posting on social media only trying to make money. And it's like, I'm sure you guys have experienced this before where you are forcing something so hard and all of a sudden engagement just drops and you're like, what's going on? Like, what's the deal? And so I really had to, again, have this out of body experience of like, I'm not being myself anymore on social media. Like that is, there is, I always say like, I don't know if we're allowed to swear on here, but F the algorithm. Yeah. I'm the algorithm. Like, and I teach people that's the vibe. And so if you're looking at your content and it's not doing well, it's not the algorithm's fault. There's something missing from what you're sharing. And what is that? It's up to you. It's your responsibility to figure out what that is. And so I remember thinking like, I'm trying so hard to sell. Why am I trying so hard to sell? Like I have a 9-to-5. Like what's going on here? Is this, again, am I trying to fill this void of needing to feel worthy with money and like getting people to join me? And so I closed the chapter on network marketing and I said, I'm going to start my own thing. And I had no idea that this world of like online courses existed. I had no clue. A friend told me about it. And once I got in, I was like, Amy Porterfield, Jenna Kutcher, like, whoa, what's going on? These women are so cool. And so I studied it and studied it and studied it. And then again, I went through my another posting journey where I was like, okay, I have creative freedom. What do I want that to look like? And so all of that to say, I tried forcing a lot of different things and you come to this screeching halt because again, I was not going to give up on this. So it wasn't a matter of, okay, I'll just close this down. And so it's been this repetitive journey of looking at metrics in a way, looking at engagement in a way of like, what's actually going on inside of me versus I don't lean on my audience to make me feel a certain way, but I do think that it tells a story. And so again, all that to say, making a short story or a long story long, that is probably my journey in a nutshell. And I continue that journey and I don't feel like there is ever a finish line. And it's just something that I really enjoy.
Yeah. There are so many parallels to life in what you just said. I'm thinking about women listening that are not posting on social media, but it has so much about if you're not being true to yourself, things fall flat, right? If you're not being present and fully thinking about what is fulfilling for you, you're playing someone else's game. You're walking through life trying to get fulfillment by doing what everybody else is doing, but you have no idea who you are. And that's exactly what you're finding out is like, you're going to keep failing because you're going to keep trying different things on to figure out who you are. That's what evolving is. Exactly. And if it's all about validation, it's going to fall flat. If you're not present with the people you love, it's going to fall flat. And I think you talking about metrics to me is so much about like checking in for self-awareness. How's this actually going? Is this going well? Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? What's kind of missing and how can I play with that and experiment with my life? And what I think about too is self-worth. And, we are all on a journey of feeling more worthy to just be who we are. But I think about when COVID happens, the job gets lost, the divorce happens, struggling with infertility, and your worth, is tied to these things that you think should happen or would happen. How do you still feel worthy of going after these things or feeling like you want to go after success or whatever it is? And so I want to talk about your journey of self-worth. When everything kind of gets stripped, how do you keep that confident Chandler and know that she is worthy of this time and this energy to pursue what you love or figuring out what you love?
That's a really good question. And I hope this doesn't come across like insensitive because I do feel like this is like a blessing in my life, but I've always, since I can remember, like I have not struggled with self-worth. Like that has not been a battle of mine. I've had other battles. And and the same goes for confidence. Like I've always just felt very confident in who I am, and sometimes to a fault. But I will say, when I think about self-worth and like when I think about what that feels like for me, and you mentioned happiness is another thing that we're all trying to grasp. Like we all want more joy. We all want happiness. And when I think about what that comes from, because I've tried like, okay, like for tonight example, I'm going to get a 90-minute massage. That brings me happiness. But there's a difference between like a deep-rooted joy, a deep-rooted soul level happy versus just like, oh, I'm going to go do these things. I'm going to feel happy for a moment and then I'm back to whatever. And to me, I think that has been built through, like, I really spend a lot of time and a lot of focus on my morals and my core values and making sure that, like, I truly live my life by means of treating people the way that I would want to be treated in so many different situations, whether that's recognized or not recognized. And I think when you live a life where you, again, like I'm constantly trying to evolve my spirituality and getting closer to God. And I haven't always been that way. But I do think as time goes on and as I grow older as a woman, and I've been faced with a lot of hardship in the last year and a half, really dedicating time and devoting myself to my core values and my morals and just being a good person, I think that increases my self-worth. I think it reminds me that I don't really think about, am I worthy? Like that's not something that I think about. I innately know that because I'm willing to dedicate myself to this life experience on planet Earth. Like I truly feel like I'm a soul experiencing life on Earth, and everything that is happening around me, everything that is happening to me, I truly believe there's lessons everywhere. And it's my job to take those lessons and do something with it, and to not let the pain that I've experienced, whether it's pain or pleasure, but most specifically pain, because I think that is sometimes what crushes women when it comes to self-worth. I don't let my pain be for nothing. Like things might not go my way and that's painful, but I'm not going to let that be for nothing. And so I turn those and I alchemize those into different things here and there. And I think that it's not always perfect. It doesn't always feel good. In fact, it doesn't ever feel good. But I think that's what really strengthens my self-worth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's things that, not material things is what I'm hearing you say. It's the actual self-work, the pouring into your spirituality. Who am I? What do I want to do? What's my mission? What am I trying to fulfill here on Earth? That doesn't have to do with what am I wearing? How many likes do I have? How many followers? What's in my bank account? And that is easy to fall into when you're on social media and you're seeing all of these people that have all of these things. How do you deal with that, the comparison, when you're trying to keep up leveling in your business and grow? And yes, you have these morals and these values you're falling back on, but I think it's natural to compare. What is your relationship with that?
It's definitely natural to compare. I've done a lot of like muting in the last couple years. Like I love and support all women. Like I truly have gotten to this place where there's a challenge going on in my mastermind that I host right now, where the month of February, because we're the month of love, we're really focused on celebrating other women. Because I saw this, there's been so many signs of this, but I saw this reel recently where it was said, I'm going to butcher this, but it was something along the lines of like, your success depends on the amount of celebration you're willing to give other people. And I fully believe that. And so when it comes to comparison, lately, what I've been doing is like stopping. I don't consume a lot of social media. I will say that right now. Like I'm disciplined around that because I know I'm no exception. Like I will fall into comparison naturally. However, when I am scrolling and I want to consume and it's just like fun to do, I will stop myself. And if I feel envy or if I feel like, geez, how did she get there so quickly? And I'm still over here working my ass off. Like what's going on? I will stop myself and I will intentionally comment something loving. And I will make sure that I rewire that thought because it's unhealthy. And so at the end of the day, I am working on that. And that's always going to be a work in progress. I think my biggest challenge, though, if I'm being totally honest, is comparing myself to myself. I think that's sometimes the comparison trap that I fight more than comparing myself to other people. And what that looks like is a constant need of progress. And sometimes that's really good especially in the industry that we're all in. It's really nice to to be linear and constantly go after new things. But sometimes that can really exhaust you and you never really truly feel fulfilled, or you never really truly feel proud. So again, still a work in progress, but I would say when it comes to comparison, like I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to that, for sure.
I can relate to that so much because I don't really fall into that with social media either. But I think it kind of goes back to, you have this worthiness, this self-worth in you. And, I can relate to the spirituality piece of it too, where it's like, I am a miracle walking on this planet. Like, especially I have 3 kids, and like to give birth to a healthy baby, when you know how much can go wrong in that process, it makes life feel like magic land, right? And so then it's even more on steroids of like, I have this one opportunity to push myself. What did I do yesterday? Frickin' nothing. What is wrong with you? Like, get your ass moving and get your work done, or whatever it is. And so I'm always working on the inner critic too. And it can be tough, right? Because we know we know what we're capable of, and we have that self-worth. And so it's kind of like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, with this confidence and self-worth thing. But you coach women, and I'm sure a lot of them don't have the self-worth or the confidence that you have. And so are there any like tangible steps or things that you kind of help women with to help them kind of step into that? I know I've watched you like have people up their wardrobe, which I need some of your tips, Chandler. You help people with their wardrobe, with their mindset, with their daily practices, with, how they show up on social media or whatever. So how do you kind of tangibly help women step more into this power and deepen their self-worth?
That's a great question that I would say something that I've learned this in the last year to really look at that as a means of, every single player is different. So every client that comes to me needs a different recipe to stepping up when it comes to self-worth, confidence, those sort of things. Gosh, this is a multifaceted answer, because I feel like there comes a time where you really, if you're a woman in business and you're calling in people that need a lot of enhancements in their self-worth, I do think there's a moment where you have to look at who are you calling in, because they perhaps might not be ready to enhance their self-worth, and that's okay. Like, we all go through that. So I think that is something I learned in the last year. But now, of course, when women come to me, there is always an element of fear, especially what I'm asking them to do, which is basically put your life, not your life, but a lot of the deep shit on social media. And there's a lot of fear around that. And so I don't think there's any amount of podcasts you can listen to. I don't think there's any type of outfits you can wear. I truly celebrate women in my world that fail, that are willing to fail. And I will literally tell them, we won't have a conversation on how you can improve until you go fail 17 times and then come back to me and let's talk about it. And I want that to be normalized. I want it to be normalized that you feel stupid. I want it to be normalized that you get 0 likes. I want it to be normalized that you don't know what to say, or that the closest people to you aren't supporting you. That's a very normal situation. And so I welcome these conversations in my world. And then to add to that, I do think there's an unspoken conversation that is happening in my heart when women come to me. And this is something that I've learned in the last 6 months. I truly believe to my core that when women find me, and I believe this about you all too, anyone in our industry for that matter, they have found me and they've come to me on purpose. And it's my job to meet them in terms of quote unquote belief. So they've believed in me enough that they want to invest to be in my world and to be in my coaching. I have to meet them halfway in that belief. If I'm looking at them and I'm saying, whoa, girl, like you need to up your confidence. Like you are like, that's not my approach anymore. And it used to be. I used to literally sit back and be like, where are the people like me that are willing to do anything, like run through a brick wall, like work their ass off? Like, where are those people? And that's just not a humble approach. That's not a godly approach. So when I switch my mindset to these women are coming to me on purpose, I have everything that I need to coach them, and they have everything that they need to increase their self-belief, increase their self-worth. And there won't be a blueprint for that. There won't be a perfect recipe for that. There is no step-by-step. It's a matter of holding space and having the capacity to have conversations that are abnormal. And I truly believe over time that that strength in these women is developed, and there is no tangible way of saying, here's how it happened. So again, I think it's story after story after story. It's seed after seed after seed. And then eventually it blossoms into something beautiful. And then the cycle repeats itself. And we have a new level, new devil. We have a new challenge to face together. So I think that's how I would answer that question. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I feel.
You would tell women, keep showing up for you. Take the uncomfortable step, maybe invest in a coach who's going to challenge you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think too, it comes back to just allowing yourself time. You know, a lot of the problem is we don't sit and take the time to even think about what our step would be. What would my failure even look like? What do I want to fail at? You know, what would I like to attempt? You know, it's so much about everybody else.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of times you get in your career and then you just kind of keep coasting and you're like, oh, I'm showing up, I'm getting paid, you know, I'm here. Or I'm just trying to survive because I'm waking up when my kids wake up and then I'm just doing whatever they need me to do. And I'm just like coasting, and there's no owning your schedule, owning your life, owning what you want, thinking about it. And then you're an empty nester and you don't even know who you are. You know, it's like so many women's stories, right?
So many.
And I think about women.
Even for you guys, like you just told me you're on season 6 of this show. And it's so cliche. It feels like so elementary, but I mean, if you look at anyone who's successful, they started from nothing. Like we all start from zero. No one gets handouts, even when they get handouts. Like that's the thing, is like, even the handout is not a handout. You have to work for this. And I think it's easy to understand that when you're getting started, but it's in the midst of it when you're like, okay, this isn't taking off the way that I want it to. And then you're listening to a podcast like this where you guys are like, we're on season 6. Like we've been doing this consistently for 6 years. That's crazy. And so I think for the women listening, when you start to question, why aren't my results coming? Like, why isn't this? And that could be weight loss. That could be whatever, finding the love of your life. It is like, just keep putting yourself out there. Just keep doing the thing, because you will learn more about yourself. You will strengthen who you are in your heart and in your core. And a byproduct of that is the manifestation of whatever you want.
Yeah. In the midst of the hardship you've had and those conversations when the inner critic is loud, what helps you snap out of that, of remembering you're worthy, you belong at the table, you got this? You know, what does that look like when that inner critic is loud for you?
If you've listened to the podcast for a while, you know I used to be the biggest skeptic about supplements. I thought, I can definitely get everything I need from food. But then I started to realize that high quality, clean supplements weren't about replacing a healthy diet. They were about optimizing my health in a way I never thought possible. For instance, I discovered what so many women eventually do. I was deficient in magnesium. Now that it's part of my routine, I'm sleeping better and I feel absolutely amazing. It made me realize that quality matters more than anything.
When it comes to taking supplements, ingredient integrity is a must for us both, and that's why we trust Smidge. Smidge offers a small line of foundational supplements, core nutrients, including 100% whole food vitamins, and digestive support for people who prioritize real food but know even the best diets have gaps. They obsess over ingredient integrity, crafting minimal, clean products with zero additives and rich nutrients meticulously sourced from around the world. We both love Smidge's magnesium, but with my chronic gut health issues, Smidge's digestive support is my tried and true. I use their digestive enzymes every single day before meals, and it has been a game changer in post-meal bloat, fatigue, and overall digestion for me. If you have any digestive issues, their enzymes, including the original and HCl plus enzymes, are a must try.
Smidge just dropped some incredible whole food supplements that we've been loving. First up, their Kakadu Plum. Most vitamin C supplements are just mass-produced synthetic chemicals, but this is the real deal from Australia. It's pure, whole food vitamin C that your body actually knows how to use for glowing skin and a rock-solid immune system.
I'm also obsessed with their Australian emu oil. You won't find this at a typical health store. It's the best source of vitamin K2, MK4, which is a total game changer for women's bone and heart health. While plant-based K2 is hard for your body to process, Smidge's emu oil is already pre-converted, so your body absorbs it instantly.
So, if you want a brand that is truly backed by research, derived from sustainable principles, and only wants to provide you with the freshest, highest quality nutrients, it's Smidge.
Head over to getsmidge.com to check out their magnesium, emu oil, kakadu plum, and their fantastic digestive enzymes. And don't forget to use our code GOLDIV10 at checkout for 10% off.
Are you tired of the endless battle with cravings? Do you dream of managing your appetite without the hassle, the side effects, or the hefty price tag?
Then it's time to meet Dr. Stephanie. She's not just a doctor of pharmacy. She's a certified diabetes educator and a leading hormone expert. She listened to your struggles and formulated a gentle, natural solution, GLP Wonder.
GLP Wonder is a revolutionary supplement designed for an easier path to appetite control and hunger management. How? It works by combining powerful natural ingredients like areocitrin and green tea extract to naturally support your body's own GLP-1 levels. This signals fullness to your brain, curbs those persistent cravings, and even helps fight insulin spikes, that stubborn, fat-storing hormone.
The result? Reduced hunger, better appetite control, and a more natural way to stay on track with your diet and goals. It's effective, it's safe, and it's affordable. Just one capsule per day for powerful results.
GLP Wonder is now easier than ever to find. Look for Dr. Stephanie's GLP Wonder at Walgreens, CVS, and Walmart. And we are thrilled to announce that you can now find it in Target stores nationwide.
Stop waiting and start winning the fight against cravings today. Find your nearest store, or to learn more and shop the full Dr. Stephanie's collection, visit drstephanies.com. And for a limited time, use code GOLDIV30 for 30% off all Dr. Stephanie products at drstephanies.com.
For me, so I've been through a lot of hardship in this last year and a half, specifically through infertility and through like death. Which is crazy. I've never experienced grief in my entire life. And then there's been so much in this last year and a half. And I don't think that I do snap out of it. When I'm feeling like, okay, I feel really low. I feel really, what is life? What's going on? I could give up any moment. I used to be the type of woman that was like, snap out of it. You'll be all right. There's people who are starving, on different continents. There's people who don't have fresh water. There's people who are on the streets. And I would compare myself to that and I would say, snap out of it. I don't do that anymore. I actually allow myself to feel like crap for a minute and be really sad. And I let myself feel that. And that's not easy. That is really hard and it's ugly and it's dark and it's heavy. But I used to try to bypass those feelings by doing what we're all conditioned to do, just be grateful. There's many things to be grateful. And it's yeah, that can be true while also me feeling I'm not grateful for this. This sucks. And being able to go to the depths of that pain allows me to actually come out of it quicker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think so many women are in the midst of a fertility journey. Mm-hmm. Making huge decisions. And we just have to address the elephant in the room that it is on the woman. It's your body. It's sad for the husband or the partner that's the male to go through this too, or the partner that's not trying to carry or whatever. But it's physical. It's you taking these shots, being on the road and having to figure out how to bring it with you. It's being tired. It's being moody. It's being bloated. It's financial. I could just cry. I could keep going on. I know so many women going through this. And in the midst of it, you're an entrepreneur and have a corporate job and are a dog mom and a wife and a devoted sister and daughter. I know so much, and Brooke does too, about what you carry. And I would just like you to speak to the woman that's maybe in the midst of that and how to navigate that physical, emotional journey while keeping your head high. How are you doing this in a way that keeps you going? Mm-hmm. A year and a half, that is such a long time.
Mm-hmm. So just 2 days ago, I started my 5th round of IVF. And so when you ask, what would I say to the woman going through this? If I'm speaking to myself, gosh, it's been such a journey, to be totally honest. I never imagined this for myself. I could have never thought. And there's things in my past that would have, it's just crazy, the things that happen. And we initially got into IVF because of my husband. So it was like a semen thing. And then when we had our first round of IVF, we found out that I have this like DNA thing. So it's like a double whammy. And then we find out that our combination together has never been documented. So it feels like an impossible thing. And I swear to you guys, like I at first was so I mean, this sounds harsh, but very egotistical about this. Like I really, my persona was leading the way when it came to IVF. And I would be like, geez, this isn't hard. Like women are saying this is so hard. This isn't hard. Like giving yourself some shots, like not a big deal. And then I'm 4 rounds in and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm going to lose my mind. And I lost myself completely to the journey, like completely. I get it now when women lose themselves to motherhood. And it was like a slap in the face, like wake up, like open your heart. Like, you know, I think there's been part of me as a woman that I've been judgmental towards other women for certain things, even though I've never gone through it. And I get back to my core values of like treat people how you would want to be treated. And in addition to that, treat yourself how you would treat someone else. Mm-hmm. And so I think to the woman who's going through a fertility journey, first and foremost, I love you. Like I'm sending all my love, makes me want to cry. I think it's like okay to not be strong. I think it's okay to feel really sad. It's okay to almost feel like a victim. It's okay. Because I've told myself on so many counts, like, you're not a victim. You're not a victim. And it's like, actually, I kind of am. Like, it's like, this sucks. This is hard. And I think it's like, at least if you're anything like me, when you want to be a powerhouse and you want to be able to say like, I can do anything, I can do hard things. Maybe sometimes it's okay to just let things be hard. And then the next thing that I would say is like, it depends on who I'm talking to, but I'm the type of woman, like I will spend all the money on the supplements. I will do anything. Like I will have a regimented routine. I'm super strict with like all of it. And that's almost hated on a little bit because I've posted things about that on TikTok where you wouldn't believe, like people are like, you just need to relax. You need to relax. And I'm like, why? If you're that type of woman where that makes you feel good, I would never tell you to relax. And so I think it's those sort of things where it's like, if you're going through this journey, you need to do what's best for you. And you need to just figure out what that is and shut out all the noise. Like I would never join these Facebook groups of fertility people. I would suggest don't do that. Like find things that bring you joy, but at the same time, like allow your body some space to just go through this because it's a lot. It is so much. And it's not just the physical. It is so much emotional, so much spiritual where you just feel like, whoa, what is life? And I think it's like, allow it to be a journey and allow yourself to feel.
Yeah. What are some of the things that have really helped you?
I don't know. I don't know if I have anything to say. I get back to this journey has taught me to open my heart. And so I think that has really helped me is like just to be loving. Like sorry.
It's okay.
I fully believe that I'm going to be a mom and I want to be able to tell my child how I handled this. And I don't want it to sound perfect because it's not. I want to be able to say like, man, I had some dark times and it does put a strain on your marriage. And also like your identity. And so I think it's like what has helped me the most is just making sure that I'm a loving person. And that means loving myself. Like that's the only thing that I can say has helped me.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so real. You know, you're in the midst of it and what a beautiful perspective to think about and to visualize sharing this with your child, which I know you will too. Like you just know, like you can feel it in your soul that this is something you're going to share with them and you want to have this integrity. And it just goes back to exactly who you are and why you're so powerful is that you're not shying away from the hardship. You're sharing it. You're talking about it. You're being real. And I love what you said about being a victim because it is unfair. Yeah. And it is like you see like a drug addict that gets randomly pregnant and you're like, are you kidding me? Like
crazy. Yeah.
are you kidding me? And it is not fair. And I think it's okay to be pissed and and want to scream and cry and whatever. Like, it is not fair. Like, it is a victim situation. And I just know so many women are going through it. And I really like talking about it because it's an hourly, daily journey for people going through this yearly and having to make decisions to give up, change, switch what you thought you would do. And I look at women in Target and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're going through. And you have like, it is true. Especially women, it's just like so heavy, you know, like even it just got your period, like you're dealing with mood swings or like it just, you know, we're getting supplements because our hormones are wacky. We're trying to figure something out, you know, it's just so much compassion for the women.
And sometimes being pissed and angry, like it is helpful. Like you are moving that energy through you. Like I had a bad day the other day. I was just dropping all these F-bombs and it made me feel better. Like, and now I get it. Like I'm spreading love everyone. That also helps. But sometimes just allowing yourself to be upset. Like let those emotions, don't try and block them because they will come out in other ways.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think too, this goes to the women listening to follow you, to if they want to be in your circle, get some coaching. If they want to just tap into this energy of vulnerability, but power, of stepping into your power. Like it is such a beautiful combination. So will you tell everyone where they can kind of find you, follow you, where you're at on the socials?
Yeah, I am Chandler Lee Co., which a lot of people think my last name is actually Lee Co., which is funny. But it's Chandler Lee Co. across all platforms. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all the things. And I would love to connect.
We need to follow on LinkedIn too.
Yeah. And your podcast.
Plural. I have a podcast, yes. So we were just talking about this before we dove in, but my sister and I started a podcast in 2022, and my sister and I were best friends, as I mentioned. And so that was just kind of like a fun passion project. But as I said, I've been fighting my whole life to kind of like be my own person. And in this last year, obviously a lot of things have happened in this last year, but what do they call last year? It's the snake or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the year of the
snake.
shedding.
And now it's the horse.
The horse. I'm here for the horse, you guys. I'm here for it. But yeah, so I do feel like I had the year of the snake where I kind of like stepped away from everything. And so we put our podcast on a pause. She's kind of living her life too, going through her own thing. And so I started my own podcast, and it's called Chit Chat with Chan. And I do talk a lot about the content for sure. I love content, but I do feel like I explain this all the time. Like you can't have good content without being a good human. And so I do talk about both. I don't believe in just strategy. I don't believe in just spirituality. I believe in the combination of both. So I do talk a lot about those things on my podcast.
I love it. I love it. Follow Chandler Lee Co. We got a Co in our name too. It always throws people off. All right. So next up, we always end our show with 3 segments. The first is 3 gold stars. If you had 3 takeaways for our listeners today based off of what we talked about, or maybe just like your top 3 that you live by, whatever you want it to be, what would your 3 gold stars be?
Oh my gosh. I'm in this mode right now where I feel like we need some more women celebrating women. So I want to definitely like push that. I think if you could take the signal of any time like you're feeling a certain type of way about another woman, like stop yourself in your tracks and instead just like reroute into giving some love. I really want to push that. My second one would be allow yourself to feel, even if the feeling is not something that you want to have in that moment. And then my third would be, I don't know. I think it's just like, it's the vibe of what we're doing here. Like feel free to reach out to people and connect with people, even if you don't know them. Like, and it doesn't have to be so calculated. And that wasn't discussed on the show, but it's like, I'm so honored to be here with you guys, and I respect everything that you're doing. And I love the sisterhood that you've developed. And so I think, again, if I were to make a positive change in the world, I would want more of this. So if you're listening to this, wherever you can find that, just go soak it up and go do more of this. And maybe you are the person that starts the podcast and interviews the people. So something like that. I think that would be my 3rd gold star.
I love them. I love them. Okay, next segment is Unleashing IV. Just some surprise questions, things we're curious about. Do you have yours ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I love both of the podcasts that you've done. I could just listen to you all day. I'm sad that you're on a pause, you and Tansy, because I don't have a sister, and your banter is so funny. I just giggle thinking about some of the episodes. And you guys, when you guys get laughing and you can't stop laughing, then I'm laughing. And then
I love it.
It's so good. But both of you invest in mentorship and you up level, you know, how much exponentially when you have a mentor. And this is something that I want to tap more into myself of, you know, putting myself in rooms that I am the dumbest person there, you know? And so I'm curious, in the mentorship that you've invested in, what is like one of the biggest lessons you've learned, or something that you're like, I never had that in my own brain and I found this out through a mentor and I will never be the same?
Oh my gosh.
It's a big question.
That's huge. Yeah. I don't know if there's like a one specific tangible thing, but I will say, like, from my experience, I invest heavily, like a lot of money into my mentor, and I love her to death. And I've invested a lot in previous mentors. So I don't know if there's like one thing that a mentor has told me, but I will say in my experience from mentorship that there's nothing but growth that comes from that experience if you choose to look at it that way. I think there's so many ways that I could tear up, even my current mentor that I love her. There's so many things that I could tear apart about her, and I could spend my energy doing that, or I could spend my energy like, how am I showing up in the space, and what am I choosing to take away from it? And then I to add to that, because I feel like this is important, for the longest time, I was very much sold on like people claiming results and claiming and like monetary claims and being impressed by that. And while that is very impressive, I look at it differently now. I'm looking at hiring mentors who, if I were to trade lives with them, like I would do that. But also I want to know how they live their life outside of their business. Like, what do you value? How do you treat your husband? Like, how do you stay healthy in your body? What are those things? And if I don't, and that's another thing why I think social media is so important, because if I can't tell those things from your social media, I'm not interested. And as a person who will pay big bucks, I'm like, it's crazy. I guess I want to make sure that you are further along than me and I can take advice from someone who's been where I want to go. I'm more so interested in like, how do you live your life, and how do you hold perspective on the world? Because that's what's most important to me. And so with this mentor in particular, what I've witnessed from her is she doesn't hold back in talking about how she's moving through life. Like when I'm on her calls with her, I feel like I'm a part of a club that gets special access to someone who's living an elevated lifestyle. And that's what I'm looking for. So I know that doesn't answer the question specifically.
No, it's great. I just recently did this where I wrote down a list of, when I hire my next mentor, what I want them, like what qualities I want them to have.
Yeah.
I want them to be Christian. I want them to be a parent. You know, I want them to be some type of athlete. You know, I'm like manifesting this person. And I'm
Absolutely.
Like,
they exist. They really do.
They really do. Great. And I already just have a free, like they have a podcast and I'm like, okay, this might be the person I'm investing in. And I'm listening to him. He's not a mother, but he's a father. And he's, you probably have heard of DG Mindset, Derek Grant. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
He just hit 1 million followers. So like, I feel like people are starting to see him more, but I'm like, oh my gosh, is he my mentor? Like I put this list down a couple months ago and he like hits almost all of the, I think once you know what you're looking for, you'll start to see it. You'll start to, you know, it'll come up.
I will say too, like, I think to add to that, it's also important to like know what your gaps are, like what you're actually looking to improve and like where you want to close the gap. And then does that person specialize in that area? And so that's another thing is like, it's interesting because my current mentor she's a messaging coach and I don't feel like I need a lot of help in that area, but I still hired her because she has like business strategy and scaling and like those sort of things in her repertoire. So I think that's another thing is like, have you taken the time, for those that are listening, to understand what is the problem? What is the bottleneck? And does this person specialize in that area? Because you could hire them because of all the things we just talked about, but are they going to be able to actually help you as well along the way?
That's a great point.
Yeah. So good. Okay. So just like you want to know your mentors day to day, I want to know yours. You juggle a lot of things, being an entrepreneur, still working full time, your IVF journey. What are some maybe time management hacks, how you organize your day? Like how do you stay organized, calm, and not being like, oh my God, there's so many things to do.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that on a daily basis. I'm also like clinically diagnosed OCD. So add that into the mix where I freak out when things are like out of order. One thing that I love, and I actually have it right here, is I just got like this notebook. I can't do planners because I feel like planners or even journals, like sometimes if there's something written in there that I don't like, it ruins the whole journal for me. So I just get like a regular notebook. It looks like this, spiral bound for sure, because I can't have the non-spirals. That drives me nuts. And what I do is I have like each page is its own day, and I write down what I'm doing. So like even this episode is on today. And so when I'm finished with this, I'll cross it out. And I create these days a week ahead of time. So on Friday, I sit down and I write out what needs to be done each day. And I also have it all on my calendar. So my calendar is, I'm time blocked, but if we're being real, like we don't always stick to our time block. But I know like I'm creating a carousel today. So that's like that's on there as well. Or like I need to order the groceries, like whatever that looks like. And I'm able to cross it out. So for me, it feels like I'm being productive, but I'm also not, I have the tendency of like, I will spend way too much time in Canva. I will spend way too much time like updating my website or making something look pretty or even like organizing my closet. Like I'll just go and do that for way too long. But this really helps me stay on top of things and make sure I'm getting the priorities done. And then if I have extra time left over, then I go organize my closet.
I love that. Yeah. And that's something I keep hearing is get away from digital. Like I have my massive brain dump in my schedule, and I've recently been doing even just copying like 5 of those things over, and what it does to my mental health and feeling like, okay, I have the capacity to do these things. It's like if you see your calendar, everything you have to do, it's like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. This is a panic attack.
Yes.
There is something to like going to a physical notebook. I'm so glad you said that.
Yes, for sure.
I think too, there's like, it feels more like yours when it's your handwriting versus like seeing it in an Excel document, which I have both as well. But and there's something about taking a beautiful pen.
Oh my gosh.
You know the pens. We're obsessed with these certain types of Pilot pens, and crossing them out. It just feels so satisfying, and it makes it's like extra important if you write it with your own hand or something.
It like calms you down too. Like taking the time to write it, I feel like it like calms your nervous system.
Yes.
Anyway,
you feel organized. Like you feel like I have my ish together. Like I know what I'm doing here.
I'm taking control. 100%.
Okay, we have one more question, but don't you feel like you have 70,000 questions for Chandler?
Not to overwhelm you, Chandler.
I know. I think
I love it. This is
I'm
fun.
like, what do you order in your grocery store, and when are you doing this, and how often? Meal planning. Let's talk about that. Anyways, I know we got to wrap this
Just
up.
listen to our podcast.
Yeah. Yes. Chit chat with Chan. Okay, last question, Chandler. If you could go back and tell younger Chandler something, what age would you go back to, and what would you tell her?
I would. So many options. I would probably go back to high school Chandler, and I would tell her to not play college basketball, because I do think that was what kind of started my loss of identity of like, I'm naturally like very athletic. So, and I don't say that I'm not trying to sound cocky, but I didn't have a lot of love for the game. I was just good at it. And my sister was a basketball player, really good basketball player. And she was not naturally gifted physically, but she had the tenacity. And so she was really good, and she was playing college basketball already. And I went and toured a specific college in Wisconsin, actually. And I really wanted to go there. But her coach in Michigan was recruiting me really heavy to come play at least one season with her. And I liked feeling wanted and seen. So I went that route. And I will say this is a tough question, because I think part of the strength of my friendship with my sister came from playing basketball with her in college. So I wouldn't take that back. But I do think it started this spiral of like, geez, I don't even know if I like basketball. Like, why am I playing college basketball? So I think it's like one of those things. But again, I mean, I'm sure everyone feels this way. Like, I wouldn't change anything about it, because I wouldn't be here without that. But I think I would go and tell young Chan, like, I love dancing. So I always wanted to be on the dance team. And I would have told her, like, at least just try to be on the dance team. Like, just do things that, we have such an athletic family, my sister and I, where it was like everyone was football coaches and everyone played a college sport. And so that was kind of expected and applauded. And I think I would go back and just be like, do something different. Like, just be artsy if you want to be artsy, like be into music, do this, dance, do that. And so I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I would have told her to put herself first and to find her passions, even if they weren't expected of her.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yes. Oh, so many amazing nuggets from this episode. I feel like we covered so much
We did.
that I cannot wait for our listeners to hear this and to
Yay.
follow you. We will tag everything below in the show notes. So everyone listening, you can easily find Chan, her podcast, social media, all of the things. And just thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We're so
Thank
grateful
you guys.
for your time.
This felt very like warm. You guys are really good. Like I love the back and forth questions, and like you guys are locked in with your eyes. Like it's a very good experience from the consumer standpoint. So thank you for having me.
Well, we love you, and we are invested in what you're talking about and just who you are as a person. It just speaks to who you are. Like, I could cry about it. It was such a powerful episode. Like Brooke's saying, I'm just thinking of so many women and what they're facing. And you just wrapped it up with a bow of like, do what you want. Know who you are. Like, go there and figure it out. And it will unlock so many things. And so I just want to echo, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you guys.
You're welcome. And last,
but not least.
I hate it. I hate wrapping up episodes like this, but we always leave our listeners with a piece of gold, a quote that speaks to you. Would you share yours?
I think because when we're recording this, I don't know when this will be published, but when we're recording this, it's the month of February. And I talked about how, February is the month of love, and we're calling it in my world Lover Girl February. The quote of like, be a come with me girl, not a look at me girl, is what I would want to leave people with. I think there's so much power to that, and you can kind of make that your own. But I think I question everything that I do. Am I a come with me girl or am I a look at me girl? And I think that has changed a lot of who I am on social media or virtually or even in my coaching business. So that's the quote.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold. We want to thank you and encourage you to celebrate yourself for taking the time to learn and get inspired in your one beautiful life. And if this podcast means something to you, it would mean so much to us if you'd be willing to take 30 seconds to help support our mission to keep bringing you inspiring stories and guests.
First, following the podcast is important because it helps you never miss an episode. To do this, just go to the Ivy Unleashed podcast show page on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and then just tap the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow.
While you're there, if you'd be so kind to give us a 5-star rating and review and share your favorite episode with a friend, we'd be so grateful for your support.
We are thrilled you're here and are so happy that you're taking time to prioritize your wellness, self-discovery, and growth with us. Additionally, we want to remind you that this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We are not licensed therapists, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.